Hi, everybody. This is Arkady Frekhtman. I'm a New York City personal injury trial attorney, and welcome to Last Week Tonight Live, where we answer your questions and we talk about your comments, whether they're your live comments or your recorded comments on our website. So, welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us. That's really cool. So, let's see. Maybe I'll start with some comments on the channel to see like what comments people have left and answer some of their questions. And then if anyone, has a question that they want answered live, just feel free to drop it in the chat. I have the live chat open and I'm happy to, answer your questions live. That's what it's all about. So let me go to the channel. Let's see. I'm going to go to the YouTube channel and see what questions we have from our viewers, just to get it going, because I don't see any live questions yet. So let's see. I'm just going to go to the comments. Okay. Here's a comment. Here's a comment just 2 minutes ago. Wow, just 2 minutes ago, somebody commented that they're saying, thank God that I believe we accepted their case, because they said that their lawyer cared nothing about their life and what they love to do. And this family thanks us so much for understanding the importance of this. Oh, I think I might know who this is. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what kind of like my whole theme, right? That's kind of like my purpose, my why is, I want to help serious injury victims and families. And this particular gentleman, I think I talked about him before in a prior video. Essentially, he has a personal injury case. He's in, upstate, not really upstate, but Westchester. And he had this other lawyer before me, and the lawyer would only speak to him for like 3 or 5 minutes. So he started like a timer. And once 5 minutes was up, the lawyer would be like, okay. And he hung up on him. And the lawyer would like, and one time something happened to the poor gentleman. He had like a personal issue in his life. Family member was sick, and he told the lawyer this, and the lawyer just like was very, very callous, very mean, and just never answered his questions. In fact, he said that I answered more of his questions just in our free confidential consultation that I do than his actual lawyer did, right? And that's not a good sign, because that's the lawyer that's on the case, right? He's paying that lawyer by giving that lawyer a third, right? 33% of the winnings of the case. So that lawyer should be, communicating with him. It's his client. As opposed to me, I'm just a guy who you saw on YouTube. He reached out to me. I'm happy to help. I want to help as many people as I can. I'm only one person. I can't like be on the phone all day, but I spoke to him a few times. A very nice gentleman. And now he's actually my client. But he has a good case. He ended up having surgery and needing surgery, and he's a nice guy. So I'm glad I could help him. Okay, let's see. What other comments do we have? Life's Good here says, great video, thanks a bunch. My question is, does a spinal cord stimulator increase the pain and suffering payout a lot? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the entire point of a spinal cord stimulator is that you're having such pain in your back that you need a stimulator, right? They give you a remote, and you actually press the remote, and the remote does like vibrations and sensations, but it has to be implanted in your spine. So it's a serious thing, and you need it for pain management, almost like some people use a pain pump, spinal cord stimulator. So it's definitely increases the value, because it shows that the pain is unbearable, right? That you need this medical equipment to deal with the pain. You can't deal with the pain without the stimulator. So it increases it that way, but it also increases the value because it's part of, it's not the only thing, but it's one piece in the puzzle of the picture of your life, right? Who you were before you had this accident, whether it's a crash or a slip and fall, whatever it was, and now who you are now after, and how you're different, right? Before, maybe you were strong, you were like working out, you were doing whatever you love to do, right? Fishing, golf, tennis, whatever. And now you can't, right? Now you're a different person and you tell that story through your own testimony as well as the testimony of your circle of friends in your life, right? Who could paint that picture. So it's almost like I was doing a consult this past weekend and I told somebody, and I think it's really true. I told somebody it's almost like if you were putting on a play, right? Or if you're a director of a movie, who's going to play the lead role, right? What actor? And then you need actors and not actors, but you need people in the play, right? You need the main role, you need the supporting role, you need everything has to be set up. It's the same thing for a trial, right? Who are you going to call? Who's going to be your first witness? Well, it's going to be, maybe it's going to be the plaintiff, the injured person, maybe not. Maybe it'll be one of the defendants to cross-examine them and to show how unsafe they were and how much they don't care, and then put on the plaintiff later. Then you need, of course, your economists, your doctors, but these circle of friends, these community witnesses who are independent, truly independent, people like your neighbors, your coworkers, your friends, can come to court, tell a story like 5 minutes. That's very powerful. So, but the fact that you need a spinal cord stimulator, absolutely. And, and also I think that's a great topic for a video. So what I'll do is I'll go and I'll research in the jury verdict databases that I have. I think I have 3 now. I'm going to research that. I'm actually going to make a sticky note for myself so I don't forget. I'm going to research that, and then I'm going to let you know what the verdicts are for spinal cord stimulators. Spinal cord stimulators. Yeah, that's that's definitely a good topic for a video, because that's a serious thing. It's very serious. And also, the other thing I was going to say is that some of these consults, when I talk to people, one of the things I can do that I've done already for a few people is I've researched certain things. Like, for example, if they have a certain attorney and they're not sure if that's a trial attorney, I could run the attorney through the database and see like what trials they actually have. Sometimes people think, oh, I have a trial attorney, they have a verdict of like 20 million, or on their website, they say that they have a verdict for 20 million. But then when you run it through the database, it shows defense verdict, meaning 0, defense verdict, meaning 0, and then like a verdict for like 9,000, come on. And then maybe the 20 million was really someone else that they just like referred the case to. So it's like a lot of fraud going on. So you got to be very, very careful. It's very important. You got to get a real trial lawyer to handle your case, not somebody who is going to say they're a trial lawyer for marketing purposes. So that's very, very important. So yeah, and we have a section of our channel, I believe, where you could actually become a member. I'm not sure what the pricing is. I think it's like some of the levels are pretty low, like $5 or so. If anybody wants to become a member, then maybe that's one of the benefits we could do, is we could do this kind of research, like personalized research for our members, right? If somebody wants to know, hey, I have a doctor. Has this doctor ever testified before? What are the verdicts that this doctor has obtained? Or I have a lawyer. What are the verdicts that this lawyer has obtained? Maybe I could do that as part of the membership, or just if you text me, the 347-566-9595. I'm happy to do that. I've been doing that for a bunch of people. And, I think it's helpful. It's kind of eye-opening for a lot of people. So, okay, let me get to more questions. I see we got some comments now live. Here's a comment from iGod Mode. Thanks for always making life easier for us through your knowledge. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And then Mr. Hassan says, hello, dear attorney. Are lawyers in one firm work as a team on their cases? Yeah, I mean, usually, right, if you're in one firm, you work together. I mean, depends on how the firm is structured. The way we work, for example, is we have like these litigation pods or litigation groups. So, for example, I work with another attorney, and we have a paralegal who's actually the chief operating officer of our entire firm. So she's excellent, but she's also a great trial paralegal. So the 3 of us work together. And we also have like another paralegal who's more of a junior paralegal, right? So we have 4 people. Another team, we have an attorney who's a very good trial attorney. And then we have a younger attorney. And then we also have, I believe, 2 paralegals. So there's another 4 people. They work on their cases. But just because, they work on, let's say, for example, those 2 teams I just mentioned, right? My team and the other team, let's call it Michael's team, because that's the name of the other attorney, Michael. So it doesn't mean that his cases are only his cases and my cases are only my cases. Like, for example, just last week, there was a case that he's handling, but that I am helping with. So we both met with the client to prepare the client for her deposition. And actually, today we were supposed to do another prep, but something came up, so we're going to reschedule it. But we're going to do a second prep and a third prep, and then have the deposition. So yeah, that's basically how it works. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. And then Leonardo says hello, hi, how are you? Always great to see you. And and then Mr. Hassan says, is a broken bone more than one increase the value of the case? A broken bone? Yeah, I mean, if you have a broken bone, sure, that increases the value. I mean, as opposed to what? As opposed to not having a broken bone? Yeah, I mean, of course, because a broken bone is a fracture. That's a serious injury. I mean, some fractures heal, you don't need surgery, but they're still worth something because they're giving you pain, obviously. They're giving you suffering. They're affecting your quality of life, right? Your loss of enjoyment of life. So there are all those different concepts that you have to think about, like your quality of life, your loss of enjoyment of life. And that's what the pattern jury instructions have in them. They're a little bit different in every state, but they're also similar. That's what the kind of things that they mention. Things like quality of life, loss of enjoyment of life, freedom, right? Freedom to do the things that you want to do. Now, you can't do what you want to do. Your mind says, hey, I want to go do something like play soccer, but you can't, right? Because you're in pain. You just physically can't. So then you lose your freedom, you lose your mobility. And movement in our society, movement is health. So losing your mobility is a huge loss. And then when you go to trial, one of the questions an attorney asks is, what is the fair trade, equal trade dollar value of that, right? Because someone, let's say a truck hits me, right? A truck hits someone. They take away that freedom to play soccer with my kids, to move. What is that worth? It's an equal trade dollar value. They took that away from me. So I'm trying to get that. I can't get that back. The only thing I can get back is money, right? Because there's no eye for an eye. I'm not going to go and take out the truck driver's eye. We don't work like that. It's not an eye for an eye society. So the only justice is civil justice, which is money justice. So then what is the equal trade dollar value of not being able to play soccer because someone is a paraplegic, or because someone has spinal fusion and they're in pain? It could be many, many millions of dollars, right? Because that's all you have, and you have one life, you have your health, you don't have anything else. That's a huge, huge loss. So if you frame it that way and you prepare it that way, it could lead to a really big verdict. In fact, just last week, a friend of mine who uses this kind of method, he had a verdict for 60 million in a conservative venue in like middle America. 60 million in a brain injury case with a motorcyclist who was hit by a truck. So you could see it works. I mean, you don't see too many cases for 60 million, 60. So I'm going to do a video about that. I'll probably post it maybe next week or the week after. But yeah, that's amazing. So that's the way it's done. Okay, and then Derek says, how do you calculate the cost of medical? So you just get a doctor to tell you what each thing costs. Like a prescription costs, $100 for the pill bottle. Physical therapy visit might cost 150. A surgery like an ACDF, anterior cervical discectomy infusion, that's going to cost more, right? That might cost 100,000 or 70,000, depending on where you are, right? And the doctor is an expert in the sense that they know the medical costs in their jurisdiction, right? Doctor in Arizona is going to tell you, hey, a cervical fusion in Arizona is worth 70,000. Doctor in California will tell you what it's worth there. Doctor in New York will tell you what it's worth here. And then you get an economist to project that over the future, and that's how you prove it. Okay, and then Wayne says two-level ACDF. Now that's what I was just talking about. That's funny. Anterior cervical, meaning the neck, discectomy and fusion, meaning they take out the disc and then they fuse the vertebrae together. Low-speed rear-end collision. I have a trial lawyer and we have filed suit, and I have a really good independent witness. I'm 72. How does age affect settlement or trial? Yeah, so I mean, it depends again how you frame it, right? A lot of lawyers are afraid of taking clients who are older because they think, well, he's already old, he's already sick, it's not really worth anything. But the good trial lawyers, what they do is they flip it and they say, look, if this was a younger man, like a 20-year-old, well, he has more to give, right? And he has more life to live. So even if he has to have this major neck surgery, he'll bounce back because he's only 20 and his neck will heal and he still has, 60 years, according to the statistics, 60 future years to live. But somebody who is, like 72, well, maybe they only have, like, statistically, like 10 years to live, or, 15 years to live. So these are their golden years. This is all they've got. They don't have anything else, right? You don't start, it's not like you get part two, you have one life. So then, hey, you took away their golden years. You took away all they had. And that's a powerful argument. And if it's made the right way, that could actually increase the damages. You get more money because they took away all you had, right? Your final, those are your golden years, your retirement, when you can enjoy your grandkids, you go like fishing, you go, people get those RVs, they drive around the country, sightseeing, whatever you want to do, travel the world, go on a cruise, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the point is, you can't do it now. You have to suffer through an ACDF. You didn't ask for that. What's the equal trade dollar value of having to suffer through a major spinal fusion or neck fusion and to lose your golden years, right? That's it, your final years. So that's if you look at it that way, they took away a lot. And he says also there's a permanent spinal cord injury with myelopathy. Oh yeah, that's really serious. That's cord compression, myelopathy. That's really serious. Both the arms and the hands. Yeah, I mean, if you have cord compression, you have to do a surgery because otherwise you could become paralyzed. But then if it affects the arms, the hands, you're, because it's from the neck, it's traveling, the nerves travel to the hands, so that's what it controls. And they're actually like charts, like the C6 controls a certain thing, the C8 I know controls the pinky on the left hand, the C8 T1, and they're like charts, what controls what. You could just Google it, and it has like those charts, but it's very serious. Okay, and then Steven says, I've been depressed over this wreck going on 2 years, but I'm grateful for the hope and insight you give in the videos. Oh, thank you so much. That's another person I spoke with, right? We did a consultation. I remember. Yeah, that's good. I hope you feel better. I hope you, come out of the depression. I mean, don't be depressed. Look, be positive. You'll be able to recover. You should be able to get justice and get a full and fair settlement. And that's what it's all about. Okay, and then Willie says, good afternoon. Hi, how are you? That's another person I've spoken to. Oh, a lot of people here are people I've actually spoken to, like, in private consultations. So that's awesome. Yeah, hi. He's a very nice guy. And then Gate Tree. Oh, another wow, that's three in a row. I just feel like I hit a home run, three in a row. And then Gate Tree says, hello, Mr. Arkady. And she's also somebody I spoke with, very nice lady. Hi, how are you? That's awesome. That's awesome. So everybody's here. Okay. Yeah, let me know if you have any other questions, If not, maybe I'll go back and do a few from the comments on the channel. And then by the way, the reason I'm doing it today, right? 'Cause usually I do it on Thursdays, because this week I'm going to be away on Thursday. I'm going to actually a trial attorneys workshop, and it's in California. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and actually a little bit on Sunday. So I'm even going to work on the weekend. And it's for attorneys to get education and to get better as trial attorneys. And the person running the workshop, well, it's actually a group, but one of the lawyers is the lawyer who got the $60 million verdict last week. So you could see he's a great trial lawyer. He's very successful. He tries cases all over the country. And he also does these workshops to help other lawyers. And I've been to a few of his workshops in the past. The first one that I've ever been to was actually in March of 2019, which is a while ago, like 5 years ago. And then I really enjoyed that one. That one was out in Colorado. So we did a workshop there. It was actually interesting because in March of 2019, this was before COVID, right? 2019, I went to Harvard University, and there was like a American Association of Justice put on a trial lawyers workshop at Harvard, and a lot of the top trucking lawyers from Pennsylvania. There was one lawyer from West Virginia, lawyers from like all over, mostly the East Coast, Florida. They all came and they were at Harvard Law School, and we all worked there and we practiced our cross-examination, our opening statements, everything, right? We all worked together. And some of these lawyers are great lawyers. I mean, some of them get like verdicts for like 40 million, 50 million, amazing lawyers. And we all worked together. So that was really great. And then after that was over, I took a flight from Boston to Colorado, and I did another workshop. I did like back to back with this lawyer. It's called Trial by Human, their group, the Trial Lawyers for Justice. They did a workshop. And I thought, both were great, but the first one was more like a classical old school way, and his way was more like very novel, very like cutting edge. So I thought, it was really eye opening. And then so then I haven't done one with them in a while, right? 'Cause that's 5 years ago, and they're doing one. They were supposed to do one in Boston this year. Actually, it was supposed to be, I believe, at the end of February, and I signed up for it. Of course, Boston's really just a few hours away by car. But he was on trial in another case, I believe, in like Montana. So he had to cancel the whole workshop because he was on trial. And then he did another trial in, I think he did a medical malpractice case. I forget where that was. That might have been in like Iowa or somewhere else. And he won that one. And then he did this case that was in Indianapolis, I believe. That's the one I just met with the motorcycle crash. So you see, he's not just doing these workshops, right? He's actually tried cases one after another after another. But now they're gonna do this workshop for sure. This one is out in Santa Barbara, so I'm gonna go out there. I've never been there, but I heard it's very nice. So okay, let me get back to your questions. I'm sorry about that. Okay, Vic is here too. Oh wow, another person I spoke to. Wow, so everybody is here, the whole gang, the party. Let's get the party started. Okay, he says, awesome, Arkady. That's my story. My golden years taken away. I was going to a chiropractor, but I was feeling uncomfortable, so I've been using massage chairs and hydro beds. Can I use that for my case? Yeah, absolutely. You could just tell them that. Tell them that. I mean, take pictures so you could show it, you know. And by the way, send me pictures, because yeah, Vic, that's somebody whose case I'm actually preparing for trial. So send me more photos. Send me iPhone photos, videos, old school photo albums, whatever you have. I want to exchange that with the defendant so that I could use that at trial. Because remember, you have to exchange all the photos. If you don't exchange them with the adversary, right, with the insurance company's lawyers, you can't use them. You can't just like come to court with a nice briefcase and be like, I got all these photos. You gotta exchange them first. So send those to me. Just email them. The best thing to do is to email, because and then I'll just get my team to exchange them as part of the trial prep, and then we're gonna go to trial in that case. Or maybe not. Maybe they'll settle. We'll see. They offered some money on Vic's case, but they got to offer at least double or triple that, right? Let's see. What do you think, Vic? Double or triple? Put it in the chat. But at least double or triple. Not anything else. Okay. Grethel, she says, you are the best. I can feel safe in your hands. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, yeah, Grethel. She's another. Oh, yeah, I remember. We just spoke on Friday. Right. It was actually funny because I took my son to a tennis tournament. So I was outside. Well, I was watching his match. He was playing tennis. We were out in New Jersey. And then this lady, Grethel, texted me. So I went outside my car and we had a nice chat. And yeah, I'm going to try to help her. That's great. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's here. And then Kelly says, hello, I have a question. After a deposition, how after will it take to get to a settlement? Okay. Oh, I think I understand. So how long after a deposition does it take to get to a settlement? Right. So I've answered this question before, but I'm happy to answer it again. So basically, there's no set time, right? Because a settlement just means that the two parties, the person suing and the person paying the money, the defendant or the insurance company, have agreed on a number, and they're going to like shake hands and agree on, let's say, $1 million, right? And that's going to be the settlement. So they could do that at any time. They could do that before the deposition. They could do it during the deposition, right? And they could do it after the deposition. But typically, a lot of the insurance companies and the defense lawyers want to have the deposition first because they want to find out, like, what kind of witness are you? How do you present yourself? And they write that right in the report, right? How do you answer questions? Do you answer questions well, or are you evasive? How do you look? Do you come in with like tattoos and, or do you come in like, well dressed with a button down shirt or, a blouse, or appropriately, basically. So they write everything down and they give that to the insurance company, and the insurance company reads it because it's the lawyer reporting to the insurance carrier, because the insurance carrier is holding a pile of money and they don't want to give that money away if they don't have to, you see? So that's how they do their reporting. But I mean, to answer your question, like there's not really a set time, but usually after your deposition, you can start talking. It depends on the type of case. If it's a case that has like a fixed value, let's say it's a case worth like, I don't know, 50,000, you could probably settle it after your deposition. If it's a more complicated case where, you're looking for like, I don't know, 5 million, right? Then your lawyer probably has to take depositions of the defendants, the people that you're suing, and has to prove liability, has to hire experts, probably have to put it on the trial calendar. And then they're going to start, giving you like 500,000, then they'll get to 1 million. And you have to keep going layer by layer by layer until you get to that 5 million. So that could still take another year or two after the deposition, right? So it all depends on the type of case it is. But for a small, simple case, it could be pretty quick. It could be even a few weeks after the deposition. Okay, Vic says, yay, yay. Okay, awesome, awesome. And Melanie says, when doctors and surgeons' depositions are taken, what is next? Okay, so yeah, so you're probably not in New York, because in New York, we do not take depositions of doctors or surgeons, unless it's like a medical malpractice case where they're being sued. So what's next is, that's just one of the depositions. So like, for example, obviously they're going to take a deposition of the plaintiff, the person suing. Your lawyer is going to take a deposition of the defendant, whoever it was, if it's a car crash, the person who hit you. And then they can take a deposition of a doctor. The defendants will take a deposition of your treating doctors who are going to testify, and your lawyer can take a deposition of those defense medical examination doctors. So once all that is done, right, all the depositions of all the parties, including the exchange of all documents, like you would give them your medical records, they would give you, I don't know, safety information about inspections, or if it's a car crash, photos of the damage to the car, right? So after all the documents are exchanged and after all the people are deposed, that's known as discovery. Once discovery ends, you put the case on the trial calendar. Now it's on the calendar. So it's like standing in line at the grocery store. Now you're on the line. And then when your turn comes up, that's the trial. So it could settle while you're on the line, it could settle during trial, or you might have to go all the way and take a verdict. And that will depend on the case. But that's usually, what happens next. Okay, and then Leonardo says, with you and Mr. Mogg, they can feel in very good hands. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Mr. Mogg, yeah, he's one of the trial lawyers here too. I just spoke to him actually a few minutes ago. I'm gonna get him on here. I'm gonna get him on the on this channel with me. I don't know if he can do a live. Maybe he'll come on and he'll do a Zoom and we'll do like a recording, or maybe we could do a live. I don't even know. But he's great. He's a great trial lawyer, and he's like a character too. So he's like more of a, New Yorker. He has like a little bit of a New York, like a Bronx accent. He's a cool guy, and he's a very good lawyer. He's hardworking, and he's very like with excellent attention to detail. If you want a lawyer with attention to detail, that's him. He's great. And Justin says, hello, I'm here. Oh, hi, how are you? Okay, awesome, awesome. Another person I've spoken to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I just texted him actually. He's somebody out in a different state, and I was helping him find a local lawyer. So I think I found someone, or at least I emailed one lawyer. Let's see what he says. And he's actually a lawyer that I met personally, and I know him. He's a good trial attorney. And this, workshop that I just talked about, he went to one of them, not the one in Colorado, but the one in, I believe, in Montana in 2021 that we did. He was at that one. He's a good lawyer. So let's see if he can help you. If not him, then we have others. But we'll just go like step by step, until we find someone good. And Dominic is here too. Wow. Like I said, everybody's here today. The whole gang. Dominic is here. He says, Arkady, it's Dominic. What happens after a preliminary conference? Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, thank you for being here. I mean, a preliminary conference is just the first conference, right? So if I file a lawsuit, I'm alleging an injury, I was in a car crash, the defendant appears in the lawsuit. Now, I filed a lawsuit, defendant has appeared, but we have to do something, right? We can't just both have papers in, like I filed a lawsuit, that's my paper, and they filed their answer or appearance, that's their paper. Now we have to meet with the judge, and the judge will do a scheduling order of a schedule of all the things to be done, including exchange of papers and depositions of the parties where they ask you questions. So that's what happens at a preliminary conference. And then after a preliminary conference is done, what you do is you do the things in the scheduling order. So the conference is known as a preliminary because it's the first, right? First conference. So it's like a scheduling order. You give them, authorizations for medical records. They give you photos of the cars, or they give you, photos of the scene, whatever they have. Now they take your client's deposition on X date. You take the defendant driver's deposition on Y date. You see, and everything. And then you have compliance conferences, and those are meant to see whether you complied with the original scheduling order, which was the preliminary conference. So it just kind of gets the case started, basically, to give you the short answer. Okay, and then Jana says, why would they cancel my deposition? It was supposed to be today. I was a passenger on a transport bus. It's been 5 years, no offer, and I'm sure they're trying to find me at fault when I was in handcuffs. Well, I mean, I don't think you can be at fault if you're a passenger. How could you be at fault? Unless you're like wearing the handcuffs on the bus, unless you grabbed the wheel and turned it, how could you be at fault? It's impossible. So I wouldn't worry about being at fault. I don't think you could be at fault if you're a passenger. I mean, I don't know why they would. I don't know who is they. Do you mean the defendants, like the insurance company or the defense lawyers? I don't know if you're suing. I don't know if it's some kind of transport bus for like you were incarcerated at the time. I don't know if you're suing like the state or some kind of penitentiary. I don't know who it's against, but if you by they, if you're referring to the defendants, the people you're suing, well, of course they want to adjourn it, right? Because that's how they delay paying you the money. Oh, she says the city. I was on Rikers Island, right? The city always wants to adjourn it. They'll go for another 5 years. Your lawyer has to force them. They have to make a motion to compel them to do the deposition. Otherwise, they'll just adjourn it another 5 years. Why would they want to do the deposition, right? If they do the deposition, it moves them closer to trial. And the closer you move to trial, the closer they move to losing their money. And they don't want to lose their money. So their goal is to delay. But your goal has to be to prosecute your case, or your lawyer's goal. So you want to tell your lawyer, hey, file a motion to strike their answer and compel a deposition because it's been court ordered in the preliminary conference, right? Like in the compliance conference and all these, I'm sure if it's been 5 years. So that's what, you have to do. That's really important. And it's actually a CPLR. If it's in New York, it's the Civil Practice Law and Rules. It's 3216. That's how you compel and you strike. Yeah, that's like the most typical motion that there is. A lawyer should know that and should have that. But if you need a consultation, just text me 347-566-9595. I'm happy to, text with you or jump on a call and answer your questions. It's all free and confidential. Okay. And then Justin says, should I wait for his call? Oh, the lawyer's call? Yeah, well, I just emailed him now. So give him some time to read the email, respond. I don't know what he's going to do, respond to me, or maybe he'll reach out to you directly, whatever you like. But let's see what he says. And then I think probably he'll want to speak with you. Okay. And then Jonathan says, how much do you think I'll get for a TBI suing New York City and 8 herniated discs? Yeah, I mean, a TBI could be significant. That could be anywhere from a few 100,000 to many, many millions, right? Because the traumatic brain injury is, it's your brain, right? That's like the most important thing that you have. Without a brain, or with a diminished brain, right, it affects everything. It affects your memory. It affects your spatial awareness. It affects your balance. Like people get vertigo, they get dizziness, people get double vision. It's just the most serious injury. The important thing to do with a brain injury is to make sure you're getting the right treatment. Like a real traumatic brain injury lawyer is going to send you to the neurologist, neuropsychologist, neuroradiologist, so you get everything. The films, the diagnostic studies, which are independent, because it's like empirical evidence, scientific evidence, because it's not subjective, it's objective, because you're taking a test. Now, neuropsychology, where they test you, and then also the neurologist, who's like the doctor that's treating you. So yeah, that could be worth a lot. Okay, and then Vic says, we are 3 weeks away from trial. Does my lawyer know who are the witnesses for the defendants? Well, yeah, you know who the witnesses are for the defendants. They're just going to call the people that were already deposed, the people that you took depositions of. Those are going to be the witnesses. I mean, sometimes they might have one more witness, but usually it's just the people that you depose. That's why you do discovery, right? You do discovery to discover, what's going on, and then you do the trial based on the discovery that you've done. That's why it's so important to, do a good job in your deposition, because if you don't, like for example, if the lawyer doesn't prepare a client for a deposition, or if the client gives like a really bad answer, you can't really fix it. I mean, you could do it what's known as an errata sheet. And then, like, so for example, the client says something really, really bad. You can do the errata sheet, but the errata sheet is just like they're going to read both. They're going to read the original answer, which was at the deposition with your lawyer and the defense lawyer, right? And the stenographer is going to type everything. So, for example, they ask you, "What caused you to fall?" And someone says, "I don't know." Okay, they're gonna write all that down. Now that's not very good, right, for your case. Why are you suing them if you don't even know why you fell? So then they're gonna say you can do an errata sheet. You get that later, so like maybe 2 weeks, a month later. Now you put, "Oh no, I fell because of the hole." Okay, that's better, of course. But they're gonna read both. And you have to give a reason why you made the change. You see what I'm saying? So that's actually a good topic for a video. Would be like, what are the things that you can change, and what are the things that you can't undo, right? Certain things you just can't fix. So whatever was done in discovery is already is that's the way it's going to be. Like for example, somebody called me yesterday. They wanted to maybe hire us, but they had a lawyer and they were actually in a deposition, but they didn't want to go forward. And I gave them a consultation, and they said, "Look, it's up to you whether you want to go forward or not. But certain things can't be undone, and I don't know if how you've been prepared. I don't know how you're going to be planning to answer all these questions. So it's up to you. But yeah." Okay, and then Doltish says, "Hi, Arkady. My wife has an inquest in a few months. Her attorney explained what it is, but we're still not sure. Can you explain what occurs? Defendant never responded to a lawsuit. This is regarding a slip and fall incident involving an ice skating trainer." Okay. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's pretty simple. So you file a lawsuit. If they don't answer, they're in default. So then you file a motion for a default judgment. And if you have all the proof that you've served them properly and you've given them all the notices, then the court will grant the default judgment. So now you have a judgment against the defendant that you're suing, but the judge doesn't know what it's worth, right? The judge can't say how much to actually award you, how much money to award you. So that's why you do the inquest. So the way you do the inquest is you show up. It depends where. In New York, they used to do it. I don't know actually how they do it now. I don't do too many inquests, but yeah, the way they used to do it a few years ago was you show up, and they would use these retired judges who are like in their 80s or even 90s, and you give them all the certified medical records, and then they read them, and then they say, "Counselor, what's your demand?" And then people would say like whatever number, like 300,000, and then the judge would just like answer a number back, like, "Okay, judgment for 250." It was almost like it wasn't very scientific. It was almost like an auction or something. So, "Counselor, what's your demand?" "I don't know, 5 million." "Okay, a judgment for 2.2 million." I guess the more you ask for, the more the judge would give you. And then you get this judgment, right? But remember, you don't have a defendant, right? Nobody's answered the lawsuit. So it's just like a piece of paper from the court saying that you now have a judgment for whatever they give you, right? Let's say $1 million. But then if you try to enforce it, you then have to hire a collections attorney to try to enforce it. And like usually what happens is once you try to enforce it, like if you do information subpoenas on all the banks, like Chase or Bank of America, wherever they could bank, and try to actually enforce it, all they have to do is then make a motion to vacate the default judgment and say, "Look, we didn't know about this," whatever, give some excuse, a reasonable excuse. That's all you need. And then they'll just open it up. But the good thing is sometimes when they open it up again, the case is active. At least then, if they have insurance or they have some kind of assets, that'll be in play. Because otherwise, you try to enforce a default and get actual money. That's pretty tough. But good luck. I mean, hopefully you'll be able to recover something. Okay, and then Jonas, oh yeah, we talked about that. Okay, and then Justin says, "What should we do if their statute of limitations for a legal malpractice claim has passed, but the first case that you're working on isn't finished yet?" Oh, I see. If the first case is not finished yet, um, I mean, I believe you can't sue, right? Because in order to sue, it has to be ripe, meaning like, if the way that the malpractice starts to, you don't have malpractice, right? Unless you've gotten either a defense verdict where you got zero and it was because of a mistake, or the case was dismissed because of a mistake, or the lawyer did something that you got some money, but you got a lot less than you would have gotten had a lawyer of, you know, like medium competency, like reasonable and ordinary competency done it. You would have gotten this, but because your lawyer did it, you got this. But if you haven't gotten any amount yet, then you can't really sue. So I don't think I think you're okay. You should be okay. But definitely check with a local legal malpractice lawyer, because I don't really handle legal malpractice. That's not something that I do. That's not part of my you know uh, profile of work. But I've read about it a little bit. I've heard about it, but I'm pretty sure you could. You don't have a case. If you sued for legal malpractice, they would just say, well, what are your damages? And you can't prove damages because your case is still pending, right? It has to be over. Okay. And then H. Chambers says, is three surgeries that included two left shoulder surgeries and a lumbar herniated disc surgery, all from a dog attack chase from someone's house, enough to demand the homeowner's full policy limits? So, three surgeries, okay, and two of them are left shoulder surgeries. But, what kind of left shoulder surgeries? Are they arthroscopies, or are they like with anchors or something else? And then you have a lumbar herniated disc surgery. And what kind of surgery? Is it a discectomy, a percutaneous, a full-blown fusion? And this is all from a dog attack at someone's house. And is that enough? I mean, sounds like a big case. Yeah. I mean, if you can show that that dog, if it's in New York, you have to show that the dog had prior vicious propensities. I'm actually working on a case like this for someone. Now, it doesn't have to be that the dog bit someone. Sometimes people call it the one bite rule, like a dog gets a free bite because what they do is they want notice, right? If the owner of the dog knows, hey, this dog has bitten people before, but they still don't put him on a leash, now they're on notice. The dog is dangerous. The dog has bitten people. If they bite someone again, now you can sue. But that's not really the law. The law, at least in New York, is it just has to have vicious propensities. Vicious propensities just means that the dog is vicious. It could be like, showing its teeth. It could be like aggressive behavior, like jumping up on people. It could be, gnarling, or, whatever dogs do, some kind of vicious propensities. It doesn't have to be biting. So, yeah, absolutely. Three surgeries and including a lumbar disc surgery like that, I would say it's enough for the home policy. I don't know how much the homeowner's policy is, but usually homeowners policies aren't like huge. Usually like 500,000, 300,000. If it's something like that, then yeah, absolutely. And I don't know like where you are either, but feel free to just text me 347-566-9595. Happy to text with you back and forth, or we can get on a call and I could answer your questions. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good case. Sounds like a good case. Okay, Jacobson says, let's go New Jersey Devils versus New York Rangers. New Jersey wins. All right, let's go. I don't know. I watched a few hockey games. I think I was at a Rangers game a few years ago. I'm not a huge hockey fan, but I like hockey. And Jacobson also says, my golden years, family bond, family time, family interactions, the depositions given to me by, oh, he names an attorney. Okay. Depositions. I don't know. I mean, I can't really, comment on that. No, I don't know what, oh, he's talking about some kind of false. Uh, I don't know. I can't really comment on that. I don't want to comment on any people, attorneys. I mean, so look, but okay. What other questions do you guys have? Doltish says, I appreciate your response. Thank you. Thank you. That's a good question. And like I said, feel free to text me. And then Tenzin, gave us a super, bought some kind of a super sticker. Thank you so much. Yeah, Tenzin's actually a really nice guy. I spoke to him earlier this week. Yeah, thank you for being here. And, you know, you don't have to do that. You don't have to give me a super, or pay any money, because I know he's in a truck crash. So I was trying to help him, and he has a strong case as well. Um, and then let's see what other questions. Vincent says, What if the doctor scheduled MRIs within a week and it feels like the inside of your flesh is radiating? Doctor scheduled MRIs within a week of the incident, like when you got hurt, like the week of the car crash, or a week of, I mean, usually they schedule it a little bit further out because let's say you have a car crash, they could schedule MRIs within 2 weeks, within 6 weeks. They want to try some treatment first. But if they scheduled it within a week of the incident, whether it was the crash, the fall, I mean, that's a little early, but it's possible. And you said it feels like the inside of your flesh is radiating. But is that from you're talking about from the MRI or just from the incident? Yeah, I'm not really sure what that question is, but I would just speak to the doctor, try to work it out with them, see if they could accommodate you. Maybe you want an earlier date, or whatever you want. Maybe you need another doctor. You could always do that as well. And then H Chambers says it was for a torn labrum with two anchors and a revision shoulder surgery on my left shoulder. Also, back surgery was a microdiscectomy and laminectomy for a herniated disc. Oh wow, so that's a heavy case. That could be like a multi-million dollar case. Yeah, definitely text me 347-566-9595. Let's talk about that. I mean, remember the consultations are free, but they're also confidential, meaning I won't tell anybody, whether it's your lawyer, if you have a lawyer, if you don't want me to tell anybody. It's all attorney-client privilege, meaning whatever you tell me stays private. But yeah, I'm happy to give you some advice. And one of the things that I do for people that do text me or do schedule these consults is I could look up the case in the court's public filing, which is the New York State civil electronic filing, if it's New York. There's also e-law in New York. Now, other states have it too, like California has public filings, Florida has public filings, a lot of states do. So I don't mind looking it up, looking at it briefly and then giving you some feedback based on that, plus based on our talk. Okay, Jonathan says, question, I had fired my old lawyer. Now I have my new lawyer. So my question is, can I hire another lawyer so they can sue the old law firm for malpractice? Or do I have to have the same lawyer? No, I don't think you could sue the old lawyer. Well, no, I mean, yeah, you could hire. I mean, if a lawyer does commit malpractice, now remember, malpractice means that the lawyer did something wrong, but that whatever the lawyer did also led to damages. Like, for example, if the lawyer blows the statute of limitations, like today is the statute of limitations, right? March 19th, 2024 is 3 years because your accident happened March 19th, 2021. And if I don't file the lawsuit today, tomorrow, it's going to be more than 3 years. I blow the statute, and you have like a brain injury, spinal fusion. Yeah, then tomorrow you could sue me. But if your case is still active with the lawyer, you can't sue because nothing. You haven't had any damages. You have to prove damages. It's like a case within a case, right? You have to prove the underlying case, the personal injury case, and then you also have to prove that the lawyer made a mistake and that the personal injury case would have been won for like $1 million, but because he made a mistake, it was lost. But if you got a new lawyer, the new lawyer wins your case, which it sounds like he will. It sounds like you're happy with the new lawyer. Then there's no legal malpractice, right? Because whatever the first lawyer, he might have made a mistake, he might have not been good, but it doesn't matter because you're still going to win with the new lawyer, right? So that's basically how legal malpractice works. You have to lose the case, and then you have no case, but then you sue the lawyer if the lawyer's mistake is why you lost the case. Okay. And then we got a message from Seth that got retracted. And then we got Big Phil. Hi, Arkady. Percutaneous discectomy, laminectomy, 2 steroid injections, and had a deposition already. And it's a Bergen County venue and $250,000 coverage. Yeah, I mean, that's a good case. Percutaneous discectomy. I don't know, Bergen County, you're talking about New Jersey? I think that's New Jersey, right? Laminectomy, yeah, it should take 250. Take the whole thing. Find out if there's excess. Remember, I always say this, if there's 250, there could be excess. Very, very high chance, right? 250, there's excess, another million behind that, another 3 million behind that. Could be another 5 million behind that. Find out. Get all the money. Don't just get 250. Don't take 250 and leave them with 5 million. Take all of it. I mean, that kind of case, you could take a lot of it. It's a good case. Okay, ASIF, attacked by a patient in a mental health services, suing for MTBI and PTSD. Will these two diagnoses contradict? When to estimate with my lawyer the compensation? No, they don't contradict. If you have a traumatic brain injury, then you could have a post-traumatic stress disorder, which is PTSD. They go hand in hand. And when to estimate with your lawyer? I mean, anytime. If as long as you're done with your treatment and you're diagnosed, so the lawyer knows what happened, right? How it happened, who's at fault. That's the liability. And then the lawyer knows your injury, which is the TBI and the PTSD. If they know those two things, liability and damages, that's all there is, right? So then they should be able to tell you an estimate of what the case is worth. Or text me. I'm happy to give you a consult. 347-566-9595. Okay, and then Seth. Oh, here, Seth is back. And he says, commercial accident, 1 million policy in Georgia, prior neck injuries, radio frequency ablation, steroid injections, traumatic brain injury, and recommended for an ACDF, which is the anterior cervical discectomy infusion. $300K, a good settlement. For all that in Georgia? Is this near Atlanta? In Atlanta, no, I would say no. Well, first of all, look, it's a commercial accident, so they have $1 million. So why wouldn't you take the $1 million? You have a TBI, it's a traumatic brain injury. You have steroid injections. I mean, if you just had steroid injections and nothing else, yeah, $300,000 would be a good settlement. But you're talking about you had radio frequency ablation, you have the need for an ACDF. Now, an ACDF, just so you understand, just the cost of doing the surgery is like 150,000, right? So that's money that is going to need to be paid to other people like doctors, physicians assistants, nurses, say, pass me the scalpel, just those guys. They're going to take 150K just to do the surgery in like 5 years, 10 years. But you can get that now. Just put that in your report. Your economist can work with your doctor to say, look, the cost is 150,000. I'm going to need it in the next 10 years. Put that in a life care plan. Put that in your economist's report. You can get lost wages. You can get future medical costs. I mean, if you have an ACDF later on in your life, because remember, you're entitled to future damages for pain and suffering for the rest of your life, right? Up until life expectancy tables go to like 84, 83. I don't know how old you are, but if it's like another 20, 30 years, no matter when you do the ACDF, you're entitled to the cost of that because you're doing the ACDF because of their mistake. So what I would do is, number one, I would find out if they have any umbrella beyond the $1 million. Because again, it could be $1 million with like a 10 million excess, or like we found out, actually Vic, that's the guy. Remember I was just chatting with Vic? He had $1 million with a 25 million excess in his case, right? So it happens. Like, find out if there's excess or umbrella, first of all. Second of all, I would definitely, if there's no excess, if it's just $1 million, I would send them a letter, a settlement opportunity. I would say, pay me the $1 million. You have 30 days. If you don't pay the $1 million, then it's going to be $5 million, and see what they do. And if you have a real trial lawyer on the case, they should be able to get you the $1 million or close to it. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me as well. That's I don't like seeing that. 300,000 is not a good settlement. I don't think you should be getting a lot more. Just text me 347-566-9595. I'm happy to jump on a call with you and provide you with a consultation. Okay, Jonathan says, my lawyer told me I could, but he'd rather me stick. Wait, lost the comment. Oh, rather me stick with my other case because this case is better. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, you got to speak to your lawyer, see what he recommends. But I think you have a good case. Yeah, I definitely think you have a good case. And then Jacobson is talking about somebody, not sure, talking about some people, government. I don't know. I don't think it's a question. I think it's just like some kind of rant about something. I'm not sure what it's about. Okay, so I guess that's good. We had a good. We're almost at an hour. We have 53 minutes. Thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Let us know what questions you have. Let us know what videos you want to see. I want to shoot a lot of new videos to give you guys content that you could enjoy. So we'll do some videos and about different topics. I'm trying to create like a little content calendar where I can write down some topics, do some videos about that. But if you have any recommendations, just let us know. what you want to see, and I'll do it. And then, like I said, yeah, please like and subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions, don't feel, there's no obligation. Just like reach out. It's free. It's confidential. I'm happy to offer a consult. I just don't like to see people get less than they deserve. I want people to get full justice, or maybe even more than you thought you could get, because then it's a pleasant surprise. That's what it's all about. We want to help serious injury victims and families. Okay, have a great night. And we will talk to you very soon. Okay, bye bye, everyone.